After 18 years of waiting, there's finally a major breakthrough for Kilmihil. A planning notice has confirmed that Uisce Éireann is progressing plans for a new wastewater treatment plant in the West Clare village. Now, this follows years of delays and uncertainty around the long-promised upgrade, a project which was first earmarked under the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, with completion initially suggested for last year, but it was later pushed back to the end of the decade. Of course, it has caused a lot of concern for a number of years in that local area, and we're going to hear some more about this now. I'm joined in studio this morning by Gerry Johnston, retired businessman and Kilmihil resident, and Councillor Rita McInerney, Doonbeg Fianna Fáil councillor. They're both joining us in studio this morning. Good morning to you both.
Morning, Sally-Ann.
Morning, Rita, and thanks so much for coming in. Rita, I might start with you if you don't mind. Will you tell us the timeline of this particular infrastructure project?
Well, I suppose it was mooted a number of years ago now. I suppose you were looking at the different projects, let's say back in the 90s, in terms of looking at where, towns and villages that needed upgrades or would need upgrades in the future. And then, as things advanced, I suppose things changed within, how things were set up and where the water infrastructure was delivered through in terms of the council and things like that. And the project then was initially confirmed around it was again brought up again in the 2010s, and there was plans for it, but at that stage then I suppose that's when the whole Uisce Éireann setup was coming on stream, and it had been, I suppose, pushed back, but I suppose there's been a refocus on getting towns and villages, particularly I suppose as we came out of the recession and the need for building more houses continued, so therefore the pressure is on again with I suppose the establishment of Uisce Éireann and it being bedded down over the last number of years, and it was identifying places where upgrades could happen and would have an immediate benefit to those towns and villages. So I suppose it has been in the pipeline for a number of years, and it's something that has come up at meetings with Uisce Éireann and Clare County Council over the last couple of years, and I suppose now it's finally getting to that stage. It's in this programme of work which for Uisce Éireann extends to 2029, so it's in this current work programme that they have outlined. There's a number of work programmes around the county, and this is one that has been earmarked. I suppose there is potential in Kilmihil. It's a vibrant village. It has a number of developments as it is, but can't progress any further because the wastewater system needs that upgrade. So it's very welcomed and very timely, and because I suppose we know we're in a housing crisis, and I suppose as a local authority we are currently looking at towns and villages where re-examining in the middle of our development plan, because the department and the Minister for Housing has asked us to do that, is to look at areas within towns and villages, the current zoning that's there, and is there any other opportunities within those towns and villages. And I suppose the ones you're going to look at first are there ones where there's availability of land but also availability of services, and I suppose this upgrade had been planned for a number of years, so this is very welcome to see this coming on stream. Okay. So it can reactivate some of those zonings that have happened in the village of Kilmihil.
Gerry, I want to go to you. Rita described it as timely, but it has been a long time in the pipeline for residents such as yourselves that have been highlighting and shouting for this. It needs to go ahead.
That's for sure, Sally-Ann, but if I could just say something first, it's actually more important than what we're talking about right now. I want to join in the people of Kilmihil to send good wishes and speedy recovery to Luke O'Grady. He's a 9-year-old young fella, and he went to Dublin Hospital at the weekend. So just so his mum and dad, Gerry and Niamh, and our family know that they're in our thoughts and prayers, and we want Luke back as soon as possible wearing the green and gold jersey of Kilmihil. Sorry, Rita, not black and white, green and gold.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that, Gerry. Yeah,
but yes, 18 years, 50 villages and towns waiting for wastewater. But today is a good day. We're glad to announce one less. We have to thank Uisce Éireann at last week for last week's Clare champion for permission, and to thank Councillor Rita McInerney, who was the link between. There's a big problem with the link between the council, Uisce Éireann, your architect, and to try and combine the whole thing. So Rita was the link who actually got this across the line. So it's very much appreciated by me, certainly, and all the people of Kilmihil.
Was it very frustrating though, Gerry, when you know you have an area like that that's crying out for development, maybe people looking to build more houses in the area and infrastructure projects like that everyone knows is needed but just can't seem to get the ball rolling on?
It's shocking, and to try and get information sometimes from the likes of Uisce Éireann is very difficult, but I think things come in phases, right? If we look back in the likes of Kilmihil, Louis Keaton got planning permission for 56 houses, Creamalla. That brought new life to the village, new business, kids going to the schools, extra numbers, good for the shops. The money point was the next big thing that really helped Kilmihil. We got great families down from Mullingar, from Wexford, and they're still with us, and now their sons and daughters are with us.
Yeah, like that's a boost for schools, boost for all the services within the area.
I mean, there was 10 houses sold in Kilmihil last year, at the back end of the year, and those people, some came for more and more. And people, why would people come for more and more to Kilmihil, for God's sake? Because
it must be music or sport, is it?
I think it's the women in Kilmihil.
Careful now, Gerry, you'll get yourself in trouble here this morning. But you can see that people want to be coming to the area.
Absolutely.
Rita, Gerry mentioned in terms of, consultation and communication with bodies such as Uisce Éireann. As a local representative, is that something you have found frustrating in this process?
I suppose when I joined the council initially, I suppose, as I said, the Uisce Éireann was in operation for just a number of years. Certainly over the last 2 years, the level of communication has improved. We have a great working relationship, particularly with the people that lead the wastewater system operation and the water operation in the county. They're very responsive when I contact them and other councillors. And recently we had a meeting with all the councillors and Uisce Éireann. And look, it can be frustrating in that we're saying we want projects to move forward, and we want them to move forward quickly. We want further investment by Uisce Éireann in County Clare, and that's the message we're giving them. I think from what they are getting or the resources they're getting, they are doing their best on the ground. But I suppose we have to keep that pressure on, and we have to send that message back to the powers that be in Uisce Éireann, in Dublin, that more resources are needed for the county so that they can do their job. Because as Gerry alluded to when he started, there is 50 towns and villages without a wastewater system in the county. At that meeting we were also very much pushing for the Broadford and Clare projects to go ahead. They're projects that are from they're set up projects, they're foundation projects, whereas the wastewater system in Kilmihil is an upgrade, so it's that bit easier. But certainly unless a town or village has a wastewater system, it's not going anywhere in terms of development. That's your basic need.
It's a huge crux in terms of planning.
It
for
certainly
new developments.
is. Now there has been movements within government to look at standalone systems, and Uisce Éireann is looking at that where there's a joint venture. So it can happen in two ways. It can happen where there's a separate development, I suppose, that where there's no wastewater system in the area, and a developer looks at putting in the wastewater system for a project for a development, or where there is a wastewater system and a developer is actively looking to put in a new development, and that they can work in tandem with Uisce Éireann on the upgrade that would facilitate that development. So there's certainly a lot happening, but we would like more, and we would like more investment in the county to ensure as many towns and villages have that opportunity. The wastewater, you need your water system, and you need your availability of zone land. So they're the three key things you need in a town or village for housing developments to go ahead. And as you said, we're in a housing crisis. We need to build more houses, and we need to provide for families.
But Gerry, I suppose from your perspective, it took a lot of campaigning by local residents. It took a lot of shouting to keep that out there, and also in the end political pressure. I mean, should that be the case?
Well, we mentioned 18 years ago when all this began, and the council issued this notice that there was no capacity in the plant that was there. And I asked them, is there any other option? Surely we can do something. I got an engineer myself to do a look at it, and he came up with a plan where we could pipe it down from the existing plant down to Lorgan's Bridge, because there was loads of water in that river to take the excess. And it just died. They didn't have the money to time, and it just left there. And 2 years' time, 22, we thought for sure it was announced by politicians, by everybody. Great news for Kilmihil. This plant is going ahead. We'll be finished by 25. 25 came and went. So we had to keep the pressure piled on. But I mean, look at Kilmihil has a great community, right? All the services that very few villages have a secondary school. They have the shops, they have the pubs. We have it all in Kilmihil. And now with this new wastewater plant, our young people at home and abroad, I think they can plan now for generations ahead. So for my part, I'm glad to say Kilmihil is alive as well and open for business.
As it has always been, no doubt.
Yeah.
Finally, Rita, Gerry mentioned there has been a number of false dawns and disappointments. What do you feel is the definition of the timeline for completion here? When will this be done and dusted?
Good question.
Well, certainly, I suppose, as I said, it is in the programme of work for Uisce Éireann for 2029. So, I mean, that might seem like a long time away, but it's not. It's only 3 years. So I would estimate that it's certainly within that time frame. But I suppose at our further meetings with Uisce Éireann, this will be one of the agenda items. So how is the Kilmihil upgrade progressing? Obviously, it has to go through the planning process, and that part will take time. So, we'll be pushing for updates and keeping people informed as to how that is progressing. I suppose they have their stages of development. The design is done, the planning is in. Now you have to wait for planning, and then you go to the actual implementation and construction phase. So it will take that period of time. I would hope that there would be significant movement in the next year, and as I said, at any further meetings, which there will be, and we have agreed that with Uisce Éireann, there will be regular meetings with them for updates on projects like this. We will keep the pressure on to get an update, and so that work can commence in strengthening the village of Kilmihil in terms of development.
And I have a feeling Councillor Rita McInerney, Gerry Johnston will be keeping the pressure on, certainly behind the scenes. Thanks so much to both of you for coming in to give us that update. Gerry Johnston, retired businessman and Kilmihil resident, and local councillor Rita McInerney there for Fianna Fáil in Doonbeg.